Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Al Jazeera reports that the U.S. Trump administration has imposed new sanctions on Cuba's state-owned oil and gas company, US-Cuba Petroleo, on Thursday. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the company as a tool for the Cuban government's security apparatus, accusing the country's leadership and the Castro family of diverting energy resources for personal gain while citizens suffer from chronic blackouts and severe fuel shortages. These sanctions freeze the company's U.S. assets and prohibit any entities with U.S. operations from doing business with it. This move intensifies a pressure campaign initiated by President Donald Trump earlier this year to restrict fuel imports to the island, effectively implementing an oil blockade. The energy crisis has prompted warnings from the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, who noted that fuel shortages are directly harming vulnerable citizens, including children dying due to lack of medical supplies. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has blamed the Cuban government for the crisis and hinted at possible military action, highlighting the buildup of U.S. military assets in the Caribbean Sea and high-level visits to Guantanamo Bay. According to TechCrunch, SpaceX has officially priced its highly anticipated initial public offering, IPO, at $135 per share. By selling $505 million shares to its underwriters, the space and artificial intelligence conglomerate has successfully raised $75 billion. This historic transaction establishes SpaceX as the largest IPO in history, easily surpassing the previous record of $24.9 billion set by Saudi Aramco in 2019. Trading under the ticker symbol SPCX is scheduled to begin on the NASDAQ. At this pricing, the deal is expected to elevate CEO Elon Musk to the status of the world's first trillionaire. Furthermore, underwriters have an over-allotment option to bring an additional 83.3 million shares to the market, which could raise another $11 billion. TechCrunch highlights that the IPO represents a massive windfall for early venture capitalists, board members, and smaller investors who participated via special-purpose vehicles. However, SpaceX still faces major engineering milestones ahead, including reusable rockets and new semiconductor fabrication, to justify its staggering valuation. According to a report by the Epoch Times, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad has advised U.S. citizens in Iraq to maintain high vigilance and leave the country immediately on available flights. The State Department reiterated its Level 4 "Do Not Travel" advisory due to rising regional tensions. This security alert follows a U.S. retaliatory airstrike against Iranian air defense systems, radar stations, and control centers near the Strait of Hormuz on June 9th. The U.S. military action was a direct response to Iran shooting down a U.S. Army AH-64 Apache helicopter on June 8th. While both helicopter pilots were safely rescued, U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed the retaliatory action but noted that he still prefers a diplomatic resolution, stating that negotiations with Iran are in the final stages. Travelers are advised to monitor flight availability closely as temporary airspace closures may occur. According to a report by Al Jazeera, Israeli authorities have deported French journalist Alice Froussard, who has been openly critical of Israel's military campaign in Gaza and its policies in the occupied West Bank. While no official reason was initially provided for her deportation, Israel's Diaspora Affairs Minister, Amichai Chikli, later accused Froussard of supporting Hamas, expressing joy over her return to Paris. The French Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that it supported Froussard, but acknowledged Israel's legal right to deport foreign nationals. The Foreign Press Association strongly condemned Froussard's treatment, pointing out that Israel had already authorized her travel prior to her arrival. The association warned that this is part of a broader ongoing effort by the Israeli government to suppress international press coverage of the conflict. Since the war began nearly 3 years ago, Israel has banned foreign reporters from entering Gaza, forcing local Palestinian journalists to cover the crisis under perilous conditions. According to advocates, hundreds of local media workers have been killed during the conflict. According to GG Press, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Galuzin, who oversees relations with post-Soviet states, met with the ambassadors of the United Kingdom, France, and Germany at the Foreign Ministry in Moscow on June 11. During the meeting, which was held at the request of the three European nations, Galuzin sharply criticized their policies regarding the war in Ukraine. He accused the UK, France, and Germany of pursuing destructive policies and doing everything possible to encourage Ukraine to continue its war against Russia. In response, the embassies of the three European countries issued a joint statement on the same day, condemning Russia's recent escalation of the conflict and its intensification of disinformation campaigns. The ambassadors also presented the key points of a joint statement issued on June 7th by the leaders of the UK, France, Germany, and Ukraine, which urged Moscow to engage in direct dialogue with Kyiv to bring an end to the invasion. The meeting highlighted the deep-seated tensions and mutual recriminations between Russia and Western nations over the ongoing conflict. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.